I've got the Whitehouse crypto report. Was XRP or Ripple mentioned? Well, one of them was, and I'm going to share with you how and how to find all the other juicy info. Plus, Jerome peed on the campfire yesterday. Rate cut odds for September have gone severely down. Open interest for XRP is down, but the price is holding, so it's good, right? We'll talk price action along with...
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
Happy Thursday to you, crypto fans. Sorry for the late video, but yesterday was a bit stressful for me, so I slept in and I'm trying to take care of myself. You notice we got a mix of red and green on the screen. Well, guess what? We got a mix of red and green in the background behind me too. Yeah, I switched it up from the beginning of the video. Now, before we get into crypto news, you know the deal. You, the viewer, are the most important. That's why I hang out with y'all in the chat during the lives. That's why I respond to comments. That's why I read them at random times of the day to share them with you. Who are we starting off with today? Kurt. Kurt Trops is first. Thanks for your awesome reporting. So tired of the BS pumpers. Hope to see you in South America on my list. Now, that being said, players out there were talking about XRP or Ripple being mentioned in the Whitehouse crypto report and how it was such a big deal. I'm going to show you exactly where it was mentioned and how you can find it yourself so you can put the hopium pumpers to bed. Lead by Example says, thank you for the live. You don't disappoint your subs. For real, the live streams are freaking awesome. Now, next month, we're going to have a couple live streams probably with regs. We're going to have one with CPI data. So we're going to have them for next month as well. So don't worry. We'll all get to hang out again. Chino BX all day, my guy. Says, like Gensler, we hate Powell, but at the end of the day, he's given us time to accumulate at good prices. I'll take the optimism there. I think we all hate frickin' Powell, and the reason we hate Powell is because of this. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Bitcoin sit at $180,050. ETH $37.85. Got near 4 and then stalled. It's what's happened a time or two before. XRP at 309. We're holding floor support while ETH is at 75 cents. Trump White House report has been released. I've got it. The big highlights are this, okay? How we should tax crypto. Some cryptos are going to be commodities, some are going to be securities. The CFTC is going to regulate the spot market, the SEC is going to regulate the securities thing. So what they're going to do is they're going to develop a framework for determining which cryptos are a security and which ones are a commodity. Now, that being said, you're not going to find that information in the Clarity Act, right? So what they're going to do, and this is also in the report, they're going to take the existing Clarity Act and they're going to build on top of it, which means what? It's going to take us longer time, but hopefully we should get more robust regs out of that. On top of that, they talked about more outlining of regulatory conditions. A lot of it has to be done with taxation, right? A national regulatory framework for digital assets is the best way to catalyze American innovation, protect investors from fraud, and keep our capital markets the envy of the world. That was from Paul Atkins, SEC chair. Also, the group recommended that banking regulators streamline the process to acquire a bank charter. Ripple applied for one of those bank charters. So yeah, let's get clearer regs regarding that. Stablecoins and payments were also outlined in the report, touching on the need to embrace stablecoins to protect the US dollar. And they really don't want that CBDC action going on. Okay, so let's get into it, because players out there are like, bro, Ripple or XRP mentioned in this whole thing? Well, one of them was. And that one of them was who, everyone? That one of them was Ripple. And let me show you exactly how it was mentioned. I'm going to flip this bad boy around. On page 17, and this is all linked in the description below, okay? On page 17, they had a history timeline of crypto, starting in 2008, 2010, 2011, 2013, and they had a whole history timeline, right, that you could see up on my screen right here, starting at page 17. And basically what they do is what, everyone? They're telling us the history of crypto, all right? So how was Ripple mentioned? Just as a company that was part of the history of early crypto, 2011, 2013. There's Ripple right there up on the screen. Yeah, that's the mention. So all those hopium pumpers out there that are like, oh my God, Ripple was mentioned in the White House report. Yeah, it's like a history note. You know who else was mentioned? Circle, Gemini, Ethereum, Consensus, Bancor, Maker, Tezos, Coinless, Binance, Tether, Fidelity, Bakkt, USDC, Fireblocks, a whole shit ton of people. So it doesn't mean fucking anything. So for all the hopium pumpers out there saying, well, bro, it's awesome, Ripple was mentioned in the White House report. Yeah, so was Tron. So was Visa. So was DM. It's bullshit. Now you're going to be like, but bro, was XRP mentioned? Well, check this out. There's a little search button here up on the top. Let me put that in, and I'm going to put XRP. 0 for 0. So for anyone out there that tells you that XRP was mentioned in the report, it was not. Yeah, you could search all this shit. The report is 166 pages long. There is nothing in here, by the way, about setting up a strategic reserve. Yeah, that's not good, everyone, because that was something we were really all hoping for. And in fact, let me do this right here. This report, I'll rotate it back so you can read it so it's not all funky looking. Hold on. Here we go. All right, now it's right side up. This report is basically a big, I don't want to say nothing burger. What's better than a nothing burger? How about a tofu wrap made out of lettuce? Yeah, that's basically what this is, because now we have to wait longer for regs. Why? Because they want more robust regs, which I'm cool with, but still, it's going to take us some time. And will we have the support to do it? Because remember, the White House wants the anti-CBDC in. The Democrats don't like that. They want CBDC action allowed by the Fed. So that's going to be a big sticking point here. The other thing, too, that was big about this was taxation. Awesome. Cool. You're telling me that you needed a report like this to figure all this shit out? No, we could have done it by now. Either way, the report is linked down below. And yeah, Ripple was mentioned as part of a timeline, but not specifically. In fact, the name Ripple was only listed up there, but so were a bunch of others that I shared with you. All right, Jerome Powell peed in our Cheerios. Yeah. So what's one step better than a nothing burger? Tofu salad or tofu wrap with lettuce. And then the next step up is pea in the Cheerios. You get the calories, but it tastes nasty. September rate cut odds dropped to 43%. All right. Yeah, I'm telling you, this is exactly what we were worried about yesterday, and it happened. While the decision was expected, you know about that, his cautious outlook and wait-and-see approach for September triggered a further risk-off move, right? Markets going to the red. Powell cited inflation risk from tariffs and noticed, for the time being, we're well positioned to learn more about the likely course of the economy and the evolving balance of risks before adjusting our policy stance. Yep, that dropped the odds down to what, everyone? A 39% chance that we're going to get a cut. It was as high as 75% a month ago. Yeah, a month ago, 5% chance that we were going to pause. Now, 61% chance that we're going to pause. So, peed in the markets. That's why we're what? Red, mostly up on the screen. Now, I've got some good news for XRP fans, but it's found in a very unlikely place. XRP inflows dropped 95% since July spike. This is a TA article here. I'll leave this one also linked down below. But basically what they're saying is, look, we saw a lot of players pulling out. We saw institutional money go down. But we also saw that a lot of institutional players hodled their XRP, leading to what? Leading to the price stabilizing here. Yeah, this is what we've been talking about, the $3 floor. A lot of players took profits north of $3.50. We saw that unfold when the volume was going absolutely nuts. So we saw that with the Korean exchanges. And then what happened? Well, and then we got to that $3 floor action. This article just goes over some interesting data on here. Here's one for you. After a one-time spike on the 11th of July when over 220 million XRP were deposited on trading platforms, inflows have remained low. By July 29th, the daily exchange inflow dropped to 9.7 million XRP. That's like jack shit. Think 9.7 million XRP. The trading volume is $6 billion. So like 2 billion XRP. Yeah, we're talking millions and billions. Either way, what's the good news? We've held on to support. All right, I already touched on volume for XRP sitting at $6 billion. Like I said yesterday, I wasn't worried about XRP breaching the $3 mark. And not only did we have a low volume weekend where we did good price-wise, we also did really good with yesterday with Jerome Powell peeing in our Cheerios. The low of that candlestick got us what, everyone? A low of 302. So again, we bumped up from that $3 mark. That's exactly what we want to see. In fact, $3 support now has held since the 23rd of July. Yeah, so we've got now over a week of support like that, and that's a good start. We were able to hold it with volume going down. We were able to hold it with the huge sell-off dumperoni from people taking profits. We were able to hold it through Jerome Powell's speech. That's a good sign. BTC is holding its price essentially sideways. The alt season index, you're starting to see it slide back, which means what? Some of the alts are, sliding a bit more while BTC is pausing. Overall volume in the market is 168 billion, so still way up there for volume. Open interest in the market is kind of Institutional money has really slowed down. Look at this, right? This is institutional ETP products right here, gone down. So players have really slowed down their buying from the peak of the 15th of July. Zoom out to the 1-year mark and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. We had that big pumperoni and now people are what, everyone? They're hodl-eronian. And here's an example of the hopium action for you, okay? Ripple mentioned in the Whitehouse crypto report. It's an entire freaking article about Ripple being mentioned and how big of a deal it is. It's not. I shared with you on the report exactly how they were mentioned, but I just wanted to prove my point that you have the hopium machine out there. Oh, this is awesome. Ripple was mentioned. So was like 70 other players out there. So is Visa. Does that mean we're all going to go bullish on Visa and bullshit like that? Either way, I think I'm going to do this as the outro. Why? Well, because I'm still screening and I think I proved my point. XP price is holding. Jerome Powell peed in our Cheerios. Nothing burgers are being pumped as the biggest thing since sliced bread. Whatever, everyone. Choo choo what? Choo choo bitches.